I went through the whole intro with the go live button not pushed, but I have pushed it now. So we're just showing up. I'm going to push it again just for fun. I don't have anyone on stream yet anyway, so we might as well. Here we go. Okay, welcome Brick World family. This is not the first time we've had a false start on the intro, but it is the first time I've done it. So
and we had a false 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
False time. Yep. So for those of you who don't know, Mark is at Brick World Fort Wayne. Should be wrapping up now. And so he always does the thumbnails for us. He scheduled the show at the wrong time for 6 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock. I'm going to blame it on an East Coast, Eastern time zone, Central time zone snafu. But that just means that I get the opportunity to bring on a special guest. So here we go. Special guest alert. Today I've got with me Jesse from Jesse's Brick Galaxy. Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Ben. Thanks for having me. This is new. I'm not new to being a guest, though. Definitely do some YouTube channels. Friday Night Bricks being the biggest one that I'm probably been a part of and ongoing.
Yes, and we can talk a little bit about that stream a little later, because I go on and watch mostly just because I really enjoy trolling Reed, the host of Friday Night Bricks, and we'll talk about that a little bit later here. We've already got some hellos. Lego Team B giving a hey to Jesse on Facebook. Kathy Hudson saying hello to everyone as well, and Real Gar saying he shares this Facebook app. I got this one at Disney World. I want to make sure I get the right one. Maybe that's where you got yours as well. But I have 2 young kids. We got to take them to Disney World this year, and this is what I managed to get. So before we get too far into the show, what is the show? Think Outside the Blocks, our weekly live stream where Brick World talks about thinking outside the rigid Lego medium, also outside our mental blocks to come up with new ways to come up with our own creations, to bring to great conventions, to places like Brick World. So we're going to do a little bit of that today too, as well as some other fun things, because this week we are brought to you by the letter C. So we'll get to our C topics here in a minute.
Like a minifig hand.
Yes, like the little minifig hands. Real Garneau got his at a Milwaukee Brewers game. Hello. Not even close. I can't imagine two things being farther apart than Disney World Brewers game.
We're in Minnesota Twins land, and I've not gone, but my roommate has, to several of the Star Wars nights at the Twins games. And the last one, they did like a drone show with Star Wars stuff. And if you have a chance to look for that, little 2-minute highlight things, the Star Wars at baseball stadiums is a thing. It's definitely a big thing.
Well, that's pretty fun. So yeah, same thing. Star Wars Day at Miller Park. So.
Yep. Yeah, I imagine that drone show is going to all the stadiums, trying to do as many Star Wars at baseball. Did they have a drone show there, Realgar?
Yeah. That would be interesting to know how that's promoted. Is it a company that pitches it to the ballparks, and then they do similar events at every place? Probably is. I'm guessing that there's an events company that kind of makes the rounds for those kind of things. But it is a fun cross-branding kind of thing.
I know the 501st Legion is like the big Star Wars cosplayers and have unified, to sell the, you can rent some stormtroopers for the day or whatever. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, so no, Real Guy says, years ago, no drone show, but he was attending as a member of the 501st Legion.
Oh, years ago. Okay.
So there you go. So yeah, they've done several. I haven't attended any of those either, but it does sound like it would be fun. If you're going to go to the Twins game anyway, or a Brewers game or a Tigers game or whatever you want to go to. So long as you don't go to a White Sox game, I guess. Let's see. What are we going to talk about this week? Like I said, we're brought to you by the letter C. So let's do our show run. To get that C in there, we're going to talk about creations, my own. We're going to do an episode of Closet of Shame. We've got a new guest, so let's learn something about Jesse through his Closet of Shame.
Oh, boy.
We're going to talk commissioned builds. I've never done one. Have you?
Yes.
Yes. So someone reached out to me on one, so it's something interesting I thought I'd mention. We're going to talk comic books briefly, and then Complete Troll, where we can talk a little bit about Critical Bricks and Friday Night while I'm constantly on there acting like a troll. So let's start with creations, my own. I can show what I'm working on. Do you have something you're working on right now, Jesse?
So the C in mock.
Yes, the C in mock.
Yeah, I mean the Halloweenish dragon thing is probably my newest creation. So
all right, let's check it out. Oh, he's so cute.
This guy. It started with trying to use the skeletons as a base, a pedestal in. And it's all 360, all the skeleton heads, all the hands creeping out.
Yeah.
And trying to make that a little spooky for this cool little dragon build that I came up with. And usually like the wings would inspire me to do a scale, and that was the last thing I figured out. And I had to pry him off a Ninjago dragon. So yeah, that's the newest thing I've built. I use it for D&D kind of as a little introductory zone for the players, or mood setting, and Halloweeny challenges this week, this month, right? I know there's hashtag Let's Build Spooky, Brick Huntress, and whoever her sponsor is, she gets sponsors every month now. It seems like a big deal. And then Good Morning Brick World had a 16 by 16 by 16 brick height challenge restriction. So that's the box that I kind of kept this to. So
yeah. And it is only 16 tall as well.
Yeah, I just barely, he's kind of
he's right at the limit.
I stacked 16 bricks just to check. Otherwise, I might have rebuilt it. It's, I think, mostly participation. I think they vote. I'm not sure. But it's just fun to participate in monthly challenges and making mock builders out of people that haven't tried to build a mock. This is a great size to shoot for starters. Like, don't think you have to build 2 tables worth of a castle. Just, start with a little pedestal or something.
And how'd you end up on so you went with the skeleton border, and then you went up a level with sort of this runic feel level.
Right.
So I didn't really what was the thought there.
I was trying to just do symbolism like dragon language or something that, it doesn't say anything English wise. And I was thinking of putting something on there, but thought maybe an open button kind of thing for D&D is more appropriate. I can always add something flavor. Just kind of jumpered my way upward towards that, and Snot built those in using, just letting the shapes kind of guide me in that zone of all you can do on like a dots bracelet.
Yeah. Yep, dots bracelet size there. So you kind of got the offset, and then you shrink up again to the kind of the rounded pedestal shape, and then we got the dragon on the very top.
Yeah, so there's some rounding there, playing with the rounded plate size stuff and tiles that kind of work up to perched position for this little guy.
Is all your dark red more or less the same color? Do you have a bunch of shades in there from the?
So the wings are actually red. Now
Yep.
you can kind of see it in the light, but in the right shadow, it looks about the same.
Yeah.
I was trying to. I started with the feet on this one, so the what do you call it? Your seed piece. You know, I was like, ooh, I have
tooth
dark red.
piece.
I have
Yep.
dark red of this, and that would be a good foot for a dragon. So
Yeah, I've got a lot of dark red that's sort of different. They're different shades. They're not one solid shade. Some of them are like a really dark maroon, and other ones are like almost like a salmon. It's crazy when you get enough of it that they're not all the same shade. It's just drives me a little crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely an example of that not on here that's readily seen. But I remember pulling parts and be like, this one's a little faded and one's a little more brighter.
Yeah, and it's not a certain like one piece that's always that way. It's just seems to come and go in dark red for some reason, where they have a lot of shade variance. So
Probably has something to do with how difficult it must be, I guess, to make this brittle color that everybody talks about.
Oh yeah, it's definitely it does have that problem too. So it's not as bad as the reddish brown, but here's my little bucket of tragedies, and there's a dark red blade in there too.
Yeah.
So whatever color they mix to get brown, and dark red, something about that makes them susceptible to snapping. Yeah. This was a nice big piece too. It just barely broke the corner. But I feel like I should use these pieces in a mock because they're kind of
right.
I don't know if it's purist to use a broken Lego piece, but if it breaks naturally, maybe it's okay, right?
Sometimes you can hear them snap when you're like putting them together and it doesn't fracture. Oh, it's just the worst. You'll know you made it.
Yeah. Team B confirms the dark red shades are a mess, but Real Guy says, yeah, keep the shards.
So I will attest to that. I broke one making this.
Okay.
It was I think it was a brick, like a 1x1 brick. It was a 1x1 with a curved round. It just.
And our friend Rob Claxton says he's seen the South Carolina brick lug working with 16 by 16 by 16 brick high. Of course, 16 by 16 plate, not the same as 16 brick. I mean, they're going to be somewhat similar.
Yeah.
But it's still not going to give you a cube. It's going to give you a rectangular shape, but it won't quite be a cube.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah. 16. We can probably figure that out fast.
Yes, two bricks tall is, or 2 plates on its side would be 5. 2 studs on its side would be 5 plates tall. It's a lot of talking to get that right.
I'll get the calculator out. 16 times 5 divided by 3.
Rob Claxton says there was also some brittleness with lime green and dark green and a few shades of blue for Bionicle in a certain set of years. Never was a big Bionicle guy, but
6 bricks?
Apparently it's a continued issue. And those colors don't sound anything like sort of the dark red, dark brown, dark reddish brown. Those all seem like they're in the same color family. Those other ones don't seem like they would match. So it's kind of interesting that there's other generations of brittleness in there.
13.333 studs.
Is what it would have to be.
Instead of 16 high to be a cube.
Interesting.
I know. And I think they're new. I don't know. It just depends on whose challenge it is. I know I've been to some conventions where they have you build inside a like a plastic cube that you can actually trade vignettes with people and keep the parts all in this little like display stand. So in that regard, and I have one of them, I could probably grab it off the shelf. It's however tall that display stand is.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably simpler to just say 16 by 16 by 16 brick
16, yeah.
instead of putting it 13 and a third, but it is kind of a, especially with you at right up to the limit, it doesn't make it look quite like a cube, but it is still, a nice set standard to build something.
I kind of have the arms poking out too. So if you were like trying to set them side by side, that would not quite work.
Yeah, well, that's okay. This is what I'm working on. It is not a castle. I don't know where Mark came up with that, by the way, but this is what I'm working on right now. It's a mech.
Yes.
And sort of this mech is a little famous on the channel because this is the mech that gave us the name for our chat, the Tainted. But this particular mech that I've been working on, I can pull up. We call him Mr. Heavy Pants Mech, or at least that's what Mark calls him. Let me solo this guy here. He was a project that I started before September, and we can see the September, the top of the September ship back there. But sort of the whole reason I started working on this mech was because I'd built one similar in design, but much different in scale. And I felt like it didn't have the right presence.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of scaling it up gave it a very different feel, even if a lot of the design elements are pretty similar. And here's the original non-heavy pants version we can throw in here. So very similar in element, but just didn't have the same sort of presence, as it were. So now that I've got that done, I'm working on the base now. And the base, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with yet. Sort of what I started with, the idea here was to, instead of doing a square base, doing a round base. So kind of the roundish shape here. I don't know that I love it, but it's there.
I think that's a good technique for people that are doing the C in mock and getting creative. Being able to, just show that much more for the environment of whatever you're creating. For me, like the dragon and the pedestal kind of helps. For you, this terrain built out.
Right, and it's not built out yet. It is early, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly yet. But I think it needs quite a bit more. I guess the big issue is, if this is supposed to look like a destroyed building or something with the rebar poking out, you need to add some stuff that looks building-y, probably some windows or doors that have collapsed, some other things. But what do you think? What do I need to work on with what I've got going here?
I'm a civil engineer, so I look at that rebar as they're pouring fresh concrete, and you need to kind of mesh a couple of them together or cross them.
Okay.
Make them, or make a bent part that it crumbled and got crushed.
Yeah,
they're not usually single bars.
Okay, well, that's a good bit of information.
I mean, they'll have single bars coming upward into walls, but they'll also be mesh in like the footing elements of buildings, and they're usually paired up. It's a tensile strength thing. So concrete has compressive strength, C for compressive, and T for tensile strength is the rebar, which would be bending instead of crushing.
Yeah, and this one here is nice and bendy. I can bend it around a little bit.
Yeah. What it needs is, even the single ones, I wouldn't bend the piece, of course, but yeah, having it going a different direction would look more.
Because if the wall's crumbling, they're not going to stay straight up, right?
Yeah, it depends on how you build it. You need like a couple that are offshooting a different direction.
Okay, it's good. It's good feedback. So I'm gonna work on that for sure. What else would make it look more like a building? Obviously, I need more rubble, but as my sense is, I need maybe some broken out windows or something else as well.
It could just be the bottom half of windowsill.
Yeah.
Or the bottom half of a door frame.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that over here, doing partial door frame, broken door, collapsed, and I temporarily thought about using some of those broken brown shards as well, but haven't done that yet. Yeah, more damaged appearance. Also, lose the 1x1 studs. A suggestion from Realgar. This is still kind of a base. It's gonna need to be more overgrown, but yeah, I mean they're sort of just sticking out right now, especially considering how flat the back half is. That I haven't done it, so it is to add some more depth when there's more on here than just sort of the deserted terrain. I do want this building to look like it's been wrecked at least for a while. Not that the Stompy Mech has done it recently. So I'd continue to work on that. But loose 1x1 studs, not lose. Thank you. Yes. So that's part of what I'm doing here is these parts on some of these rebar deals are loose. I'm going to stack a few more of those up so it looks looser. But yeah, some more rubble definitely in the cards, I think, for the Stompy Mech. I don't know if the damaged building is necessarily the best option, but it's kind of what I've been thinking of going with, at least right now. So I do sort of want to give like an urban, modern, post-apocalyptic type feel, I guess. So that's what I've got going on, at least.
Yeah, it's a good start.
And then Realgar said, "Show him the taint." Well, here's his taint down here. For a long time, he didn't have anything there. Now he's got something, at least. I don't know that it does anything, but he's got something going down.
I was
there,
wondering where that came from.
And some grasses around the back. Yeah, the back is obviously not done at all. Got to start somewhere. But yeah, we need some more rubble. Need to twist up some of the rebar, some door and window sills, I think. Those are all good suggestions for kind of highlighting what I'm going for here. So, and Lego Team B says, as long as the pants remain heavy, we're happy. Yes, his pants are going to remain heavy. He's Mr. Heavy Pants Mech. Per Mark, that was Mark's contribution.
Heavy pants.
So what do you have planned next? Do you have a big project you're working on? Is it all secret?
Well, it's here and there stuff, right? So another big part of my life is the model train museum. So today I was there getting spooky with the haunted house stuff in the back of a train yard. And I can't really, I mean, I guess I could show photos off of my phone, but some are sets. When you go to the model train museum, the general public, some of them know what a set is and some of them don't.
Yeah.
So I don't get when we're in work in progress with the layout. I don't know. We just have fun with it. We're loose with our rules. And if it's temporary, seasonal, the more the merrier, it seems like. So today I took out my Scooby-Doo stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And put the Scooby-Doo haunted thing and the van and a few characters in front of there just to fill that space. Early, because we do spooky trains. We turn the lights down and do the trains with all the little lights. So we're really gearing up for spooky trains is what it's called. If you're in St. Paul, it's the Twin City Model Railroad Museum. And Shane Wells is going to be there Wednesday mornings. We're going to be on Fox 9 News.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, trying to get this into gear. So there's the Monster Fighter house and the Hocus Pocus house. I got like a little scary lane here. This is a mock, though. I have the State Fair haunted house.
Oh, there you go. Minnesota State Fair.
Yeah.
One of the biggest state fairs in the country. They have their own haunted house. It's their permanent fixture.
Yep. It's a red building with black trim. And
I mean, as it should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a haunted house.
There's set in the background, the Arkham Asylum.
Oh.
In front of that is a nice little pumpkin carriage mock.
Nice. Yep.
And then in front of this is a Nightmare Dreams mock throne room with all the eyeballs on it.
All the eyeballs. Nice. That's a recent theme. So we're already doing mocks in the dreams world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. As soon as I built the shark, the nightmare shark,
mhm.
I was like, I'm not going to use this as it's like a flying ship shark. It's like a pirate ship
Yep.
shark. What am I going to, but it has all these eyes on it. Pretty much the reason I bought the set. So, like within the same week, I took it apart and had those eyeballs ready to do this little throne room mock.
Yeah, eyeballs, they're always creepy. And the more you can put in a throne room, the creepier. At
Yeah,
least
they have
that's what
that
I
like
say.
cat eye little slit instead of the cutesy Mixel eyes.
Yeah, and actually that'll dovetail nicely with our next topic, closet of shame. When we bring in someone new, we like to talk. What's in your closet of shame? I happen to know what's in yours, so I think the slit cat eye thing will go with this nicely. So, do you want to do closet of shame first, or you want to see how it's done? I can bull mine up here.
Yeah, why don't we, I don't know, I guess come back to me?
Sure. Okay, I can go first here.
Unless
This
you
is what
want
I
to.
pulled out of my closet of shame today. So, closet of shame, for those of you new on the stream or watching later, this is sort of a phenomenon among all AFOLs where we end up buying a lot of sets that we don't open, especially those of us who do our own creations. We
And
end
it's
up
not,
buying them.
yeah, it's
Uh,
you just run out of time to build everything. Is I think part of the reasoning. We're like, yes, I intend to build this for sure.
well, sometimes not even that for me. Sometimes I'm like, I really want to use this part or that part, and then I don't, or I find that
Mm.
I have a whole stash of that part.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I like the color scheme or like the 15 parts in here that I really like, and it's on clearance at Walmart,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, sure. I know. I remember like buying the Minecraft sand green set just to
Yeah.
part out the sand green
Yeah, so I mean this is what happens to us AFOL. So we end up with a stack of Lego sets that we don't open,
pile of shame
and they
or
become a
positive shame.
for me it's literally a closet. For some people like Jesse, it's a pile. Oftentimes it's multiple piles or multiple closets. Um,
Stacks.
so this is what's in my closet of shame that I pulled out today.
Lego movie.
Lego Movie castle set. This was kind of interesting. And I can see if I can pull it up on the second camera here. What I think is perhaps most interesting about this set in particular is it didn't really have much of a presence in the Lego movie,
Mm-hmm.
if at all. I think there's some part where they're building a bunch of spaceships, right? And so this may have kind of showed up there very temporarily. But the micromanagers, like they made a big deal of them too. Um, and they didn't really play the same type of position that sort of the Lego sets suggested they would. But of course, being a castle guy, and we'll talk more about that later too. I was drawn to this set because the alternate build, the castle one, is very classic castle, little gatehouse down here.
Oh
Um,
wow! So there's a 2-in-1.
it is a lot of these Lego movie sets, and this Lego movie set I looked it up was from 2014. That's when the Lego movie came out. So it's 9 years ago already, if you can believe it,
Mm-hmm.
that the Lego movie came out. And yeah, a lot of them that had this kind of look. There was also like a Western one as well, a couple other ones that had two
Fire
in one
truck.
type deals.
Fire
Yeah,
truck
there was
neck.
a plumbing one with plungers or something too. I don't even recall all of them. Real guy says, "Why is this shameful exactly?" Well, it's not shameful to us. It's shameful when someone comes to my house and they see the pile.
Yeah.
Or when my wife opens the closet and looks inside, that's when the shame comes out.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Yeah. I think we can agree that we have a little addiction to this plastic brick, and
yes,
if you can afford it, the pile's not so shameful. And very resellable.
yes, very
So
resellable.
I don't. Yeah, we're not. It's not a lot of shame. Uh, I think it's
But
a
yeah,
good hobby slash addiction that of all the addictions you could have, a very resellable thing.
yeah. And a nice back of box on this too. Mark and I end up talking about the backs of these boxes quite a bit actually, because a lot of times it's not entirely evident when they have bad box design in particular that that you want to view both sides of the box or that the box tells you anything more about the set. But here, since it's the 2-in-1, we get a much better view, much bigger picture of the alternate model, as well as some of the play features, because Lego's big into the play features, of course. So, a pretty fun set. I don't know why I never opened it.
Right, because it's got castle equipment that could be useful, and
yeah, but I never did, and I still have it. A couple other cool parts in here. They've got sort of the one piece wall structure in here with the window. I guess I don't favor using this piece, but it's really good structurally, or if you're trying to build quickly. Let's see. They've also got the kind of sculpted lion head, which is a kind of a cool piece too. If you're into the Lion Knights castles. So, good color scheme, good part selection. I like the flags. Hard to know if those are stickers or not. Probably are. The flags with the crowns on them too are pretty nice. So, a cool set that's remained in the closet.
So, does this get opened on this?
No, we don't have to do that.
Like
no.
if I show something on the
no, you're not required. You're not required to open it.
So I might change my selection. I grabbed, like probably one of a few rarities that it's like at one point, like I wouldn't have a problem opening that Castle Lego movie set.
Yeah, me neither. But I'm not too into needing what's in here. I kind of have an idea. Mark opened his troll set that he had in his closet of shame, but I think this one's gonna stay sealed for now. I don't really need the parts on it for now, but it might be fun to do something with this at a later date. 424 pieces. Doesn't look like it's going to have that many pieces, but decent part selection as well, probably because they need to do both models. Hard to know if it's, all parts would be used in this one and only 90% in the alternate build, or how they ended up doing those. But a pretty cool set anyway. The number is 7806, and its name is Castle Calvary.
Let's see a close-up of the figures there.
Yeah, so, okay, yeah, tell me this. They do all have names.
Okay.
Sir Stackabrick, Gallant Guard, and Sharon Shoehorn. Do you ever remember a character from the Lego movie named Sharon Shoehorn?
No.
Me neither.
No.
But that's who we've got on there. So two kind of classic castle figures and Sharon Shoehorn, whoever she is. So I don't know. Real Gar says if the judgment there is from people who come to your house who see the piles, then his entire residence is shame. I try to keep mine isolated mostly to the bottom basement level, but it leaks up to the main level too, and my office is a mess. Wow. So it's my auxiliary closet of shame is my office. Still has a door you can close to contain it, so it's like its own version of a closet of shame. So that's what I have. What's been filling up your closet of shame?
Yeah, my closets and piles are in different arrays of like size of boxes. And so I'll just take, a Lord of the Rings set, a smaller box, and put it in a certain size and start. And I know it's bad to stack them this way, but I stack them this way, intending to open them at some point. And so this was on top of the larger set I grabbed because that's the eyeball feature. Ooh. I bought this at one of those Twin City comic swaps or toy swaps, I think. A toy swap. So it was not brand new retail when I bought it, but an okay price for 2,359 pieces. The Tower of Ornthak.
YOLO X says that's a flex, not a shame.
Flex, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a
Well,
guest, so I got to flex. And I really want to open it, but so I got a different Lord of the Rings set with this bird, thinking that was a reason to open it. But now I have said bird, like from
it's one of the
whatever other
eagles.
set I opened. I think this is the same one.
Yeah, I think that they have.
This has two-tone wings, though. Does this one?
Yeah, I think they
Yep.
have
No.
slight differences in those eagles. I think one of them's got some extra color printing that the other one doesn't, or something. So I don't know if it's unique or not. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Probably Bricklink that. I'll
And
have to
then
check.
I mean, well, I got to say, just for the tower itself, I'm not sure. It might be nice to have that for D&D night. Have this big black tower ready, and I can just rename it some other wizard. And then the treants or whatever, these little buildable tree mechs
The
are
tree guy,
really,
yep.
really cool
Treebeard.
pieces. And the way they've got that put together would be great to pull out of here and have built for a D&D night.
Yeah, I'm looking up here because I have Treebeard somewhere, or the Treepeant that's on there. I don't know if it's Treebeard specifically or not. It's probably supposed to be.
Yeah, he's got a beard. You can see it more on the back. Wow, yeah, there's a lot of pictures on the back here now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, there's a lot of interior on that and a decent number of stickers from what I remember. Of course, lots and lots of black.
Lots and lots.
Which
might come in handy. I think the next
yeah.
my next big mock I want to do is going to be a big black kind of vampire castle. So this could be opened and repurposed very easily.
Okay, so that particular eagle only appears in two sets. One is the Tower of Orthanc, which you have there, and the other is Battle at the Black Gate. So I don't know if that's where you got that one from or not, but if you have a different eagle, he's probably very similar, but not the same. Might have some slightly different coloring, I'm guessing.
Tower at the Black Gate. I think so. Might even be right. I've been meaning to, put all these Lord of the Rings and Hobbit sets. I bought a box that was no box, but all the parts kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where's that? That's right.
All right, where are you, Treebeard? We're both standing up on stream. Everyone can see my shirt now. You're not even there. It's the professional stream here.
We just walk away from the stream.
I don't see Treebeard, but I know I have him. Oh, when I find him, I'll pull him out. Another stream maybe, but he's pretty decent.
There's a Hobbit set. I don't know what it's called because I just have the instructions and 2 baggies of the parts. I bought that at Brick World or Brick Slopes.
Okay.
I think it was Brick Slopes because it was smaller in the box. I flew to that show. I've already taken the dwarves out of there, and I intend to do something with these pieces.
That one's at Lake Town. So
Lake Town,
some sort of Lake Town something, Lake Town Chase, Lake Town whatever.
I think this one came with the bird.
Yes, I think you're right.
Black Tower, probably.
I think you're right, and that one is from the city of Dale in the Hobbit sets.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's probably ever so slightly different. Kind of felt like they phoned in some of those later Hobbit sets. Still good pieces in a lot of them, but I don't know that the sets themselves necessarily matched.
And then I also have to flex. I won't show it, but I have Rivendell sealed. It's like I got to find the time to build that huge set. The variety of sizes of sets, I think, are getting larger. I'll get to the small ones. It seems like, and the medium sized ones. but there's quite a few little exclusive or large sets that are piling up in the closet of shame.
Yeah. This is interesting. So I just looked it up. The bird that you have was from the Battle of the Five Armies set.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It is unique
Ooh.
compared to that Orthanc one and the other one. And in fact, it's the
Is it the color of the beak?
It's the only one that shows. It's the only one in any set. It is unique to that set. So you probably have the more rare one there compared to the Tower of Orthanc one.
In my hand. Okay.
So I don't know. There you have it. The only one they ever made in that particular style. So pretty interesting. Cool. Let's see. You got some other questions or some other statements here. Yo, those eagles though. Yes, the eagles. They're interesting. They got those big wing pieces. We've seen the wing pieces kind of come and go in a couple other sets as well, but only place you can get those eagle bodies, just a few sets. There might be a third variant that wouldn't surprise me that's different than those two. And then, of course, the tree beards, the ents, the...
I don't know how much is unique on the ents, but because it looks like maybe sticker eyes.
I think that the eyes on those guys are actually printed tiles.
Oh, maybe printed just 1x1 rounds.
Yep, I think so. And if I had Treebeard here, we could look at him or whatever sort of
get a really good close-up. Look him in the eye.
Man, I know he's around here, but I did a Black Castle once upon a time as well. Let's see if we can pull that up.
Yeah, I could use some inspirational techniques to steal or stay away from.
Yeah, it's a lot of spikiness. That's sort of the way I went with it. Couple of towers. It's fairly symmetrical. The real trick with building a black tower like that is photographing it was tricky. Mm-hmm. But I actually found a way that photographed pretty well. So here's my tower. Let's pull this up here. So let me share. Okay. Share my screen. Share screen. Here we go. So we'll share this. There it is. Ooh. So this particular guy, and I can solo it here. You have an idea. I kind of changed it up a little bit here. The top is at a 45-degree angle compared to the rest of it. It's very Tower of Orthanc-esque in some ways. Lots of spikes and chains and things of that nature.
Right. You got to give it some texture because everything's black, or most of it.
Exactly. And so the whole key to photographing this, which is kind of the thing I wanted to mention, was I tried to take a picture of it, and of course it just looked like a blob. And you can see that I did do inlays and other things to give it some texture, since, as you mentioned, it's black on black for the most part.
Right.
So what I ended up doing is spreading white poster board around it, and the reflection off the poster board is actually what you're seeing in the tower when I took the pictures. So that's why you can actually discern some detail in this, is because of the reflection of that white being shown inside the castle. So, oh, hey, Crystal happened to ask, how did you do that? Here she goes.
There you go.
There you go, Crystal. So that's what I did. I surrounded it in something white so that the reflection was picked up, and that's how I could get it to look like that.
Okay. I'll have to work on that because for the most part I have a black tabletop and I usually turn my chair around and it's black background for my Lego posts.
Yeah. Yeah, black on black might be a little tricky. And actually this was before I had a good light tent. So I actually took it outside in the shade because you don't want the sun directly on it. But that's how I got the reflection.
You might want to get a photo box or cube those
I've got
photos.
one now. Yep.
And,
And then get something around it to have the white reflect up into it. So it was kind of an interesting task. So yeah, your closet of shame is more like a flex. Everybody's telling me. So
I could pull flex castle. The first thing I grabbed was castle related. Also, one of the older sets that I have, like
that's classic right
yellow
there.
Guy right here. Since
the Joust.
I bought it's definitely crushed box used. I think I built it and then just put it back in here. Just to count the pieces, make sure all the characters and jousting characters were in there. So that's not really a pile of shame because it's actually been opened and assembled and then just went back into the box.
Yeah. Monica Berry is excited to greet us as well. Hi, Monica. And Gary says on our Facebook stream, he has the opposite problem. Lots of time to build, but no money for Rivendell. So we all have our own cross to bear, Gary.
Yeah.
But Gary, of course, every time Gary's on, he reminds me that we have viewers who come on Facebook as well. But regardless of where you're coming from, remember, you can always like and subscribe. Give us some help with the algorithm. And, if you like what you're seeing and you want Jesse back again, right, put a comment in that we love Jesse.
Yay. I know for people that are trying to get into the Lego community too, it's kind of, some of it's dumb luck. Just happened to live in the same state as Ben, so we kind of know each other from the lug, although you're not really in the lug. It was so weird when I met you first. Like, I think Twin Lug introduced me to you at a Chicago show with your spaceships at, I don't know, it could have been 2018 or something, when you were doing more of the blue ones or something.
Yep.
And then I'm like, oh, yeah, how come I don't bump into this guy? He's got some awesome builds.
Yeah, I mean, it's life for me because today, for example, was a Sunday. So it's typically when the Twin Lug does meetings. Today, my son had flag football. He actually also had a birthday party as well. So we've been running around all day. It's very difficult for me to make Sundays in particular work for Twin Lug. So I don't get to the meetings as much as I'd like. And then eventually, for a while they were letting kids come. It's an adult-oriented, place though.
Yeah.
So it's difficult if I'm solo parenting on a particular day to go if I have a child with me. Much easier if I could do it on Zoom and I, was at an event or something. Well, for example, flag football, they practice before they play for an hour, where I could pop in. And Twin Lugs seems to have grown considerably in membership.
Yeah.
But I never can make it there. I always want to, but instead I end up doing this. And obviously I'm available at 7 p.m. Sunday, but at 1 p.m. or whatever it is now,
right,
very difficult to make.
Well, there's a lot of different outlets in the C community of Lego, whether it's lugs or conventions, and I appreciate being here. I've definitely tuned in and chatted a little bit, and
we do like to keep up with our chat. And Gary says, "Yay, I exist." Yes, Gary, you are like one of our 3 Facebook people that we see
and comments.
But it's fine, right?
I think some of the Facebook stuff too, you're just scrolling and you watch for a few and then just keep scrolling. But
yeah, Monica says hi to you. She also says hi to Realgar.
We've met.
Steven. And YouTube is doing that thing where I have to hit send twice for it to go through. We're only seeing it once, just so you know. So I don't know what to tell you, Monica.
Upgrades.
Well, let's see what's on our show run next. So we've done a little closet of shame. Now Jesse. He's got the flex. He's got a couple of those big sets in his closet of shame. They were castle related.
I'm like big, trying to, Dungeons and Dragons castle, everything. I started Star Wars, went big superhero, and I think we're coming around to that C. for comics.
Yeah, we're gonna talk commission builds, then we'll talk comics.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've never done a commission build, though, nor have I sold a piece of work that I've done. Though I think it's probably just a matter of time. I know I have been actually offered a commission thing on something, never done it. It's probably a thing that AFOLs occasionally do run into if they're in their own sort of world for that. I know Mark has done quite a bit of commissioned work, so it might be something I talk with him about too. But since you were on the show, I asked you earlier if you've ever done a commissioned piece, and you said you have.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like for you?
It first time is always weird because here's like us doing show and tell, right? Here's my commission build that I built and gave to someone else and no longer have that Lego anymore. So part of it is really heartbreaking because you create a piece of art and sell it and you are no longer in possession of it. So that's a big part of, you have to like accept, that you're not going to get the brick back. And if you over order a few elements, you can, supplement your parts collection with a certain roof piece or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could probably go through some photos, but interesting enough, my first commission was, so it just happened to be right time, right style. I met Alex Johnston, and he was doing he's basically the client, right? He's buying these things. He's not much of a builder. He was getting commissions done from Roy Cook, and Roy Cook is a big brick worlder. I think he was up for, what is the
Brick World Master
Legacy Brick World
Yep.
Master last year. He was on the ballot. So he was doing commissions for a guy in town. And so I'd say his name because Johnston he's the great grandson of a famous architect in town, Clarence J. Johnston, who did a lot of the state government buildings, the U of M, like Northrop Hall and Walters Library, and all these like fancy architecture buildings in early days of Minnesota's history. And so he wanted me to give it a shot. And so Roy Cook had done the University of Minnesota in this micro scale.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted me to do Williams Arena, which is the barn where they used to play hockey back in the day. It's big enough for 2 hockey rinks, and they've converted to basketball and built a new ice rink since then.
Yep.
But
on an elevated floor in the barn, which is sort of its defining basketball feature. But its architecture feature isn't the raised floor; it's the rest of the building that kind of looks like a barn.
Right.
Right.
So in micro scale, I'm like, okay, I'll build this, on like a 16 by 32, and it's got nice little arches built into the architecture that I think at micro scale I can, repurpose a window to be a big arch. Mm-hmm. And then micro built the hockey rink and a basketball court inside, just to kind of show that it's done both. And that was really fun. So little Minnesota, I was like, okay, it's a Minnesota landmark. I'm trying to try something new and try a commission and try to put a price on it, which is also a really tough thing to quantify, because I think some real simple math for people, if you're thinking of commissions and you haven't yet, Ben, you said, is to take whatever you think it costs in dollars for materials and double or triple it for your time and creativity.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's can get expensive, but it must be what people expect, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To commission something.
Mhm.
I know people have brought art pieces that sell. They weren't, necessarily intending to sell to a brick world as well. That happens sometimes. People make an offer on spot, and if you're not thinking of selling it, I can imagine it's very hard to know what it's worth, because
Yeah.
part of it is the bricks, but then part of it is the artistry, the uniqueness, and whatever else.
Right. Right. So I
So
think pulling the trigger on that, or in some manner, is a good notch on the belt of an AFOL, and it's a unique
yeah,
opportunity that may or may not come up. For me, it was through the lug. So Roy Cook was in the twin lug. He went to them, and Amanda plugged me.
there you go.
So
A little
you
bit,
know,
a little bit of tennis to find out where it went. And twin lug, one of the things they're really into is micro scale architecture in particular.
mhm,
So it happens to jive well with what they do.
mhm.
So must have been a fun time at least. But yeah, not something I've done yet, but somebody's asked me if I'd be interested in something. I'm like, and I found some details about the project in particular that make it a strange fit for me. Not because of the subject matter, but for a different reason. And so
Yeah.
someday, if I ever do the commission, I'll have to tell the story.
So I still have the client, and
Okay.
I've done, I think, 4 pieces for him since. So Williams Arena, Pathways. Uh, shoot, I did a building that was recently built. Juxta is a arts, like a urban art center, and they got a bunch of money for a new building, and I built it in Lego before they like broke ground
Okay.
in their thing, and off a concept art. And I did 2 pathways, and he wanted something else. Oh, I've done Como Pavilion, and that was also so 5 different pieces for one client, and he wants me to do Amtrak Depot back in the classic days, which is uh, relative to my train stuff right now.
Yeah.
But I told him nothing until after Chicago, and I haven't really heard from him since. And it's just been kind of a busy whirlwind of, I don't know, just a change of lifestyle, really, for me at work and personally with the D&D stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I want to follow through or do any more. I would definitely do more commissions, but it is, yeah, it is you got to be ready to give up the brick. Luckily, this guy is local, so he actually brought some of it to Brick World, or showed some of it at the museum for some time, so I got to see it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you do specific part orders for the brick,
Oh yeah.
typically?
I supplement with my collection, but it's
Okay.
not all brand new pieces, because I think that's for me anyway. With him, I was like, "Are you okay if some of it's used or whatever?" And he was. So then I think, well, that's another little buffer of uh, pricing that I can make a little bit back on.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So anyone who's thinking of doing commission work, you got a framework of what to consider. Did you do any digital building with this, or did you?
He wanted digital builds, and I've only done a little bit of Eldraw stuff when I used to work at Brickmania. The
Yeah.
sets I designed there, whoever designs it, you make the instructions, which makes sense.
Mhm.
So I had to learn on the fly there, and but I don't really like it. I definitely build with my hands first, and then
Convert it.
would convert it to digital.
Yeah.
Although for commission work, it would be extremely uh, beneficial to do a digital render, get your piece count, put
Yep.
it into Bricklink, and come up with that number of it's going to cost X amount,
Right.
and I would like Z amount.
And you somehow managed to get it done without doing that, but yeah, something to consider for anyone who wants to do with the Bricklink Studio or whatever to get some idea on how to do that. Okay, well, what do we got next? Comic books. Before we get to comic books, because obviously a Lego show, let's talk about the spoiler. And that would be this thing here. Let me stop sharing that and share this. I don't think it's officially been announced.
So it could be C for current Lego events.
C for see this thing here.
Oh yes, we have all seen. It's actually, I don't think it's getting around quite as much as when the Daily Bugle went crazy. But I don't know. What do you think? Is it's caught like, because I think Avengers is kind of old news for me. You know, the MCU closed the chapter on the Thanos trilogy saga, and this is from, you know, it's like a throwback Avenger Tower.
There's a couple interesting things in this, and I agree with you. Like, would I necessarily think or need to include the little monsters here that were in Endgame?
Shatari.
Right. Like those seem so strange to have in the set piece. I guess they wanted some form of action, but I don't know that I would have included them. They also have the tiny Quinjet, right, to sort of show that this is a certain scale, and here's what a Quinjet would be compared to this. It's very architectural, and so I don't know. You've built an Avengers Tower, but it just seems like kind of an interesting choice for a UCS set, since it's iconic. I'm not going to say that it's not, but a lot of it is just really repetitive, I guess. Maybe when we get more details on some of the interior details or something else, I'll be like,
yeah, I would argue, come on now. What do you got to say? Come on now. I mean, it's a building, but look at how not square it is.
It's not square, and I understand that, right? It's got some character, and that's part of the iconicness of the tower itself. But it's just rows and rows and rows of glass windows over here, right? And it's kind of like,
I wonder how it opens.
Yeah, I don't know either. So it's going to be interesting.
So for mine, that front blue glass,
this stuff here
is on a hinge at the bottom, and I can just literally pull it out like it's a wall and get into the inside.
Yeah, and they're clearly doing some things here. Like they have the Hulk pulling out a couple of sections of wall, so it's not like there's absolutely nothing going on. But it is sort of, it's parts of it are repetitive. The top definitely isn't, and like I said, it's definitely iconic. It's just interesting, I guess. Lots of pieces, but how many of them are that one particular window piece? There's probably 100 of these windows in here.
Right out of the 5,201 pieces.
Yeah.
There's a good, and you don't see that often, other than some of the like Daily Bugles and stuff coming out that are repetitive window building things.
Yeah. Lots of figures. We'll give them that, right? I think they got pretty much all the Avengers here.
That'll sell sets for sure. Yeah. I'm not sure how unique they might be at this point in my collection. I'm not sure if I'll get it. If there's not a super unique character that I could get otherwise. And like you said, I've built my own, which is a similar size, 3 feet tall. I've built an add-on base to it also, which raises it up another 9 inches or something. And I'm surprised they don't have that part in there, although that would be a whole nother level of piece count.
Yeah. Apparently some people are tired of the Hulkbusters. There's no Hulkbuster in this one, at least. But we have had quite a few Hulkbusters. That's definitely true. Of course, Lego and mech go hand in hand, so I guess we shouldn't be shocked. Yeah. I mean, I see, just looking at this thing, the other thing that I see is this piece here. There's a couple of these this curved see-through piece that they had in the Bugs line. Did you get that Bugs set?
No, I didn't get the Bugs.
Okay, this is a newer piece that's kind of this bent clear piece that's got an axle on one end and a pin hole on the other.
Okay.
So it looks like they're using that a few times as well. It's an interesting piece.
For a little jumper of action.
Yeah, I can see at least, looks like there's one here, and one with Thor's hammer. So there's at least 3 in this set.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what other new molds they'll add. But it's out there, 5,200 pieces. What do you think the price on this is going to be? I'm guessing $600. But what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, normally you'd want to see 500, right? For
Right.
a 10-cent thing, but with 30 figs, it's going to be higher. So
650. Who knows?
I think your $5.99 marker is right on.
Yeah. So that's a little comic book thing going on. I know you've done some comic book art and some other things.
Yeah.
So let's talk comics. I don't really have many comic books. Doesn't mean I don't like the universes, but it's not something I've really been into. But I don't know that that's necessarily the same for you. So, what's your connection to comics been?
Yeah, I've definitely have more of a Dark Ages story with the comics instead of Lego. Lego was more of an adult hobby for me. Didn't really have it beforehand. Like people have their Dark Age stories, but I collected comics, that's for sure. I think I had 4 or 5 long boxes, they're called, from the 90s, and collecting 80s, 90s comics, and liking superheroes, and now finding that outlet of building an Avenger Tower or a Baxter building with Lego is a way for me to enjoy that comic book history that I have in Lego form. So definitely like behind me here, a huge comic book moment, taking an actual comic book cover and making a mosaic. That's as comic booky as you can get right there. It's got
It is, yep.
It's and even got like the price tag up there, 75 cents. Issue number 340 of the Hulk with an iconic Wolverine pose with the Hulk in the blades
and the reflection of the adamantium.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the big fig up there in the corner.
Yeah, that kind of threw the scale into how what scale would it be if that you have that little thing classic and then in the bottom corner you have, and I could do this better, but your barcode, your PC. I think I could do that better if I did it sideways. I feel like I want to update this one or do another one in the scale because I can actually hold it, and I could disassemble it because I did use the art mosaic
the mosaic pieces
to put this together, hold it together.
Kind of quiet in the chat. Any comic fans out there in our chat today? Outside of not wanting a Hulkbuster, they've been a little quiet. They've just been fascinated, I think, with the comic book talk here. I've seen several people do other takes on the comic book cover. Tim Leidy's got that one, the Spider-Man one with the big rhino popping out of it. He did a 3-dimensional one.
Yeah, that was inspiring for us when we were thinking of our X-Men build that we did earlier this year.
Yeah.
Or X-Men mosaic. And some of us wanted to do more 3-dimensional or texturing, and we came up with our own way of doing that.
Right, or lighting, lots of lighting effects I've seen kind of come into some of the mosaics that look like sort of the static pictures, but then they've got some more dazzling effects to them or whatever else. But that was one of the things you did this year for Chicago. Was it small group collab or whatever it was?
Yeah, small. We got best small group.
Right, for a series of comic book covers.
Yep.
Or comic book mosaics, I guess.
All X-Men X-Men #1 covers came together. EJ, one of the popular Art on the Block gallery guys, did Magneto, and I did Gambit and Rogue, mostly popping out three-dimensional style. Larry did the Wolverine and Cyclops, and Mel Brown did Beast, Jean Grey, Professor X kind of cover. And
yeah, very, very cool. But yeah, it seems to be a big inspiration for a lot of people, comic book covers in particular. And Lego's starting to do some of that too. They did some of those interesting mosaics, and then they have that interesting Spider-Man one that's semi three-dimensional. I mean, it is three-dimensional,
right,
but it's still kind of flat.
Yeah, it's kind of like reaching off the frame.
Right.
Don't have that. Again, it's like, it's starting to draw the line on what like they're basically starting to sell like the Avenger Tower. It's a mock in a box. And it's like, if you're building those, mocks of that caliber already, do you want
just for the parts and only if it's priced well, right? Or for the figures in your case.
Definitely not.
And so that's what makes the struggle is it's like, well, I already have that, right? Did Lego do it better? Well, I've seen your Avengers Tower. It's pretty similar to this in a lot of respects, similar in scale, right? And maybe there's probably a lot of differences.
Oh yeah.
But do you need 2 Avengers Towers that are roughly the same size? I mean,
well, so I'll compare it to the Daily Planet. I had my own Daily Planet, or Daily Bugle, right? I have the Daily Planet also. I build fairly for DC and Marvel and independent stuff, but I wanted some of the lettering and the signs and the figures out of that set for sure. And then I thought I could, because that one was definitely a square landscape skyscraper, rebranded. So I rebranded the box set. I made it a little bigger, girthier if you're an ACOB, and called it LexCorp, and just rebranded it, and then took all the Daily Planet stickers and stuff and put it on my Daily Bugle.
Daily Planet would be an interesting mock to see from Lego in particular. I don't know that they would tackle that one, but it's an interesting one.
They should lean into more DC non-Batman stuff, because there's so much Batman, which is fine. It sells.
Well,
but I think that would sell. I think they could do a Daily Planet and get something out of that. And we
get the globe picture and all that other stuff in there. Monica Berry says, not that big into comics, but I like the movies and shows. So sort of more like me. I did have a time period where I did collect some comics, but it was they weren't classic ones. They were some of the newer stuff that was out, and I only did it for a short time. Sometimes Gen 13 was one of them. So there were a couple that I got into for a little while, but they weren't the classic ones that anyone's going to see a mock of. But I occasionally run across a comic book, say as like an extra in something that I buy, and I like it, and I might find the rest of them in a limited run series or something. Like I think there was a StarCraft one that was out a few years ago that had some cool art and some cool concepts. And for me, that's more what I take out of those. I don't know that I necessarily get into the stories so much as the art. But,
right. I know that's me, the cover art itself sometimes sells the comic, and you're like, oh, I have to have that, or even multiple issues, because they'll do different covers of the same book.
Lego Team B. That is interesting. Like if you have the 4 different covers for a single special episode, do you actually go out and try to collect all 4 covers? Some people probably do. I don't know. That's really interesting.
The X-Men #1, for example, our mock is the same comic book.
The 4 different covers, 5 cover.
But it made a spread, right? So that was kind of part.
So when you put them next to each other, they made a whole picture.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the first to do it to a large scale was that comic. So it kind of started that trend of doing variant covers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still collect comics. I'll pump a show that Larry co-hosts, and it's on Facebook. Since some Facebook people are watching, Gary, it's on Tuesday nights. It's called the Comic Consultant, and he does kind of an auction slash sale where you're not really bidding and outbidding. You just have to claim it in the chat first, and you get that price.
Cool.
So
Lego Team B liked your cover. Realgar says he was next to Tim Lighty at Grand Rapids, so I hope you didn't feel too insecure. Tim is a great builder.
yeah, be
He
inspired.
definitely likes X-Men and Batman. Those seem to be his two go-tos, but he builds outside of the comic book genre as well. So kind of like Jesse in that regard. Let's see here. Mock in a Box, great call. Yeah, that's what some of these larger sets have really become in the direct-to-consumer line.
I see it. I mean, they're literally doing that. Like, all the ideas
Yeah,
are
that's what they
people's
are,
mocks.
converted and put in a
There was a
box.
new lineup of stuff you can vote for right now, I guess, for the next set to be considered.
Well, then they're doing Bricklink is doing the
and then there's the Bricklink
sets.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of those, the Western Saloon, I think, but I usually don't get in or find out about them in time, and I've missed out on them. Let's see. Non-DC Batman would be fresh. Batman and Marvel are so tired right now. I think a lot of people think that, but they apparently think there's still enough steam to do an Avengers Tower, so I guess we'll find out. And Gary says, I sat next to Tim's Rhino comic all weekend at Fort Wayne. Well, I hope you enjoyed it.
There you go.
Hopefully Tim was being kind to you. I'm just kidding. Tim's always a nice guy. But yeah, he definitely has some interesting and cool things. Have you seen, I think the one I like that Tim did in particular lately, he had one that was the Green Goblin's house that had like a conveyor belt with a bunch of pumpkins on it, and it was like the whole base was sort of decrepit.
I think so.
That one's really cool. He did that, and he also did the Gotham PD from the Gotham show.
Shoot, yes.
Which was really well done as well.
Yes.
So I mostly saw the back of the build. Yeah, I don't think the back of that Rhino build is exciting, but it sounds like Tim was having fun at least, so that's good. Tim's a good supporter of Brick World and an excellent builder, so always fun to see what he has. I know that he built, I saw on Instagram, a Hocus Pocus build he was debuting. So that might be something fun to see. Okay, next topic, Complete Troll. We're going to talk castles and critical bricks. Okay, so what is this one about? So Jesse is a regular still on Instagram and on the internet. He does another show regularly, Friday Night Bricks, with a cast of thousands. There's lots of people that come onto that show, but you're pretty regular.
Okay, yeah. I was like,
the main host, I would say, is Reed Yeager.
He's been keeping it going for 400 some episodes.
It's been on a long time. Well, I like to go on and tell Reed that I hate Castle. And I go on in the chat and I tell him this. And he hasn't picked up that I'm trolling him, even though I've done it now for like 5-6 weeks straight. I think he's convinced that I do really hate Castle. And Kevin Wagner, our friend, and you are on that as well. You guys just don't say a thing to him. Just let me troll him just completely.
Yeah.
And it's my new favorite thing to do, is to just tell Reed how much I hate Castle, and he defends it, and he's very nice the whole time, but he just doesn't seem to understand that I'm trolling him yet. So I'm seeing how long I can keep it up.
Nice.
So if anyone else wants something to do on Fridays, Friday Night Bricks, the show's almost always going. And you can come on and talk about how much you hate Castle as well, and sort of join me in my sneak attack on Reed until he figures out that I'm just trolling him.
Yeah.
But I do love it.
There's a few things that don't go over his head, but it's kind of like in one ear and out the other. He just doesn't catch on to things. I don't want to. He's a friend, right? And there's
he's a good guy, and he's
Yeah.
very nice. When I talk about my hatred for Castle, just the way I put it out, he always defends it, and he's like, you just come into the community. Building Castle is fun, and he
Right.
loves Castle, right?
Right. His thing, if you don't know, is the ice castle.
The ice castle, the transparent hope castle. That's like his thing.
Year after year after year.
Hey, he loves it. He loves the ice bears.
Yep.
It's his thing. It's his baby. Super sweet gentleman. He just has no idea that when I say that, I'm like, of the last 6 things that were posted on my Instagram, 4 of them are castles. So, at some point, he'll catch on, but it's fun.
He's kind of got tunnel vision. It's okay. He has good.
He's trying to host the stream.
Super good intentions too. Like the whole idea of the Hope Castle. People in the AFOL community that have unfortunately passed on are paid tribute in this. In this tower.
It's very well lit. Real Garads, yes, it is.
Yep.
But it's funny, and I've even said to him on stream that I'm trolling him. But he still doesn't call me on it. So eventually it's gonna happen, but I'm just seeing how long I can keep it up. So it's something I love. That's a little fun. Castle wise, we are in theory getting a new castle next year, as well as a new Tower of Orthanc.
Wow.
So lots of stuff to troll Reed on going forward. But it sounds like Castle isn't a dead theme yet. Lego's still kicking it around a little. It's the same thing though with the Avengers Tower. Why would you do a new Tower of Orthanc?
That's confusing me, right? Because Rivendell was the precursor, if you will. They had
same thing, right?
They had a Rivendell set before that was this size.
The little console.
This is it, actually.
That is it. What do you know?
This is the Rivendell set, the Council of Elrond or whatever. And that's it. I mean, that's tiny. So they made that huge, what it deserves, and it was wildly successful, I believe. But this, I don't know. I mean, here's the old one. The year on this when it came out is 2013.
Yeah, that was sort of the issue. Some of the issue with the Lord of the Rings stuff is it was really coming out sort of after the Lord of the Rings had been out, but before the Hobbit.
Yeah.
And then they leaned a little more heavily into the Hobbit, but it didn't feel like they tried on those sets. And I don't know. I kind of got the impression that it didn't sell super well, but I don't know. I think Rivendell's probably doing okay. It's a much more expensive set. But maybe they've sort of learned that for that type of property, if there's not a concurrent show going, you need to sell it to AFOLs, which means you need a direct-to-consumer set, which means it's going to cost $600, but it'll be gigantic.
Right. So instead of this tower, again, why don't we get Rings of Power sets, the new show that is in the same world, the prequel show. There's probably a tower in there. I don't know if the show is, I mean, I think it's doing fine. Okay. Not, I mean, it's a series versus the epic trilogy from Peter Jackson, right? Or something.
Right. Well, Lego Team B says, missed the Lord of the Rings first time around, on board this time. So yeah, I mean, if you didn't get a chance, it would be great. The the series, I did watch all of it, Rings of Power. I think part of the confusion and part of what makes it difficult is they have some of the characters like Galadriel and Agent Smith's character. Help me out. Everybody knows the guy I'm talking. Elrond.
Elrond?
Yeah, Elrond. Elrond Hubbard. No, Elrond. So Elrond and Galadriel both have people that play them, and of course they're, immortal. So this is hundreds or thousands of years earlier. So they're not necessarily going to look exactly the same, but they don't look anything like the characters
it's
grow
centuries.
into, right? So it's, some of it's a little strange to sort of associate this new character, and they've had problems with that too for like Solo, for example. Trying to have somebody play Harrison Ford younger. Though I will say, if I was going to, as much as I say that, Donald Glover as young Lando was spectacular. Totally bought that it was young Lando.
Nailed
And
it.
he had like the cadence down and like the voice so that you could, kind of picture it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel the same way about these characters that are playing these future characters that I, love in the movies. They just don't feel the same,
Yeah.
And maybe it's just hard to get over that, and they should have just not even tried. I don't know. But
money
if that's
talks.
who it is, and if that's who it is in the other book series or whatever,
mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's a strange. We've seen reboots and prequels and sequels,
Pre-boots,
and
yeah.
30-year sequel seems to be a big thing everywhere. It's not just Star Wars that went.
Ghostbusters did that.
Ghostbusters and even like sitcoms and stuff. They'll be like, "Oh, here we are, 20 years later.
Here's
and
another season of Will and Grace, and
our
another
kids
season of
are on the
Roseanne.
show instead."
Yeah, Fuller House. My kids love that show. Real Guy wants a Solo 2 or a Lando series. I'd be down for a Lando series.
I think they're trying to do a Lando series, but have maybe backed it up to a movie.
Okay.
Format.
They got enough series going on, so But yeah, I love Donald Glover in that, at least. Maybe that's just me. Let's see. Our chat's quieted down a little again, but
what was the rundown? Where were we going with this?
Yeah. So I was talking about trolling Reed and some of the new castle stuff.
I'll tell you some more stuff in the back room, but
okay, that's fine. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been having fun with telling Reed that I hate Castle. So if anyone comes on that stream, again, Fridays, you can come watch. I think it starts at 7 as well, goes till 9. They have a hard cutoff at 9, and we'll talk about why that is here in a minute.
Yeah.
And I'm trolling Castle. I'm just trolling Reed. Let's not be too hard on him, but don't call me out. Let's keep it going for at least a couple more
because I don't want to spoil something because he might watch this. But I want to say, just without spoiling what it is, we do play a drinking game on the show.
Oh.
And when you see us all drink, you will know what the secret word is.
Oh. Ooh. Interesting. So anyway, so we got that going on. Let's see. The other thing that was in the C for complete troll would be critical bricks. You want to talk a little bit about critical bricks?
Critical bricks. So the Friday Night Bricks crew, I pulled into a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I wanted to use Lego and play D&D, and what better friends to invite, as we all have Lego AFAL friends. I'm wearing my AFAL shirt here. So I decided, let's just end Friday Night Bricks a little early and then start a new stream with a Dungeons and Dragons campaign and see if it catches on, and we'll, bottom line, have fun. So on my channel, you can raid from Friday Night Bricks or Assembling Hope. I think it's Friday Night Bricks channel. And then go to my channel, Justice Brick Galaxy, for Critical Bricks, which Reed and Kevin and me and Larry, Nikki, Alicia, Troy, Mel Brown from Half the Time. He's there. There's like up to 7 players, which is kind of a lot for a new dungeon master, but we did almost 20 episodes and a weekly format minus a few weeks where I play in person also on Friday nights. So we skip those weeks, or if there's a big convention like Mark's problem today, we will skip a week. Or if we're in Chicago Brick World, we all played together live and in person when we usually are on the screen. So twice
Can't
we
beat
got
that.
Yeah, that was epic.
And I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, but I enjoy going on, and I troll a little, but not the same as I do to read. I like to crack some jokes.
Yeah, thanks for the dad pun on the ghosts and the
Yes.
goblins or whatever. I was looking for
Yes.
vicious mockery type of verbalization and found a really bad dad joke. I should have not put dad joke into that. I should have just looked for a ghoul joke. And it's a lot of
You got
fun.
one right.
Having those one-liners, right? It's like a bunch of one-liners just setting up, whether
That's what you can do, right? You come in and just kind of goof around a little, have some fun. I had it on in the background while I was doing the September, which is why I could have an excuse for being there and not putting my kids to bed on Friday as I was doing September. So I would listen in on Critical Bricks. And if you have any interest in Dungeons or Dragons, or you just want to hang out with some nerds and some nerd culture and chat,
and it is
something you can do.
Lego. So I try to put
Yes.
I try to put as much Lego in as I could. If you know the game a little bit, the format is tabletop.
Yep.
And you usually have pewter miniatures doing your battle movements, and just so you know, you have an attack line or trying to hide behind something. And
so I guess I'd call these big set pieces encounters, really, right?
Encounters. So all the encounters are played out with Lego.
So there are some little mocks that show up in the show. I think Kevin does some of them. Maybe you do some as well, where they have a set piece with a road and a wagon or something, and the sig figs end up battling it out with trolls coming in or whatever the case is.
Kevin
on some
used
of these.
Rancors he had 3 Rancors, so the
Yes.
trolls were Rancors.
That's
Lego
your real flex right there. 3 Lego
I was like,
Rancors, right?
wow. I've got bags and bags of like all the villains, ready to go in case of what encounter. So
I don't know if you're interested in
of
D&D, or you
porks or
want to get
whatever.
into D&D, or you just want to hang out and drop one-liners. Critical Bricks.
Definitely welcome.
Fridays at 9, following Jesse's regular stream on Friday Night Bricks.
Yeah,
So
9 o'clock. Definitely a 2 to 3 hour format. Where I was the dungeon master and wanted to be a player, so I've let Kevin substitute in as dungeon master recently. He's about to wrap up his little 5 or 6 week story arc, and which introduced me as a player character, which was cool. And it's been a lot of fun. So the usual suspects are watching the Lego community. We get a few people in the chat. Sometimes we'll ask the chat, Larry's always asking the chat to give him a name for his bow and arrow. And he just will not.
He doesn't take any of them.
And pick a name. Like, you have to pick a name.
I of course went heavy on the puns when he asked.
Right.
So it's like a fire bow. So I don't remember. There was all kinds of, Zippo and all kinds of silly names.
So we're having a lot of fun, and to bring it, since this is a Brick World channel, I got to talk about that we were playing for half a year, and then came to Chicago, all of us, and then some, and planned to play in person for the first time, all of us face to face. Now we've met each other I'm pretty sure all at conventions, and have people in all different time zones, and now here we are in Chicago. Ready to play in person around a table. And I didn't really have it planned, but so next year I think I'll ask Mark like, can I have the draft room from 10 p.m. till midnight and then some, maybe. But we just squatted in the draft room. We just,
Yep. Hey, you were on the show tonight. He probably owes you a little bit, and
Yeah.
you need this for the
Pun alert.
for critical bricks. You need to throw this up whenever Larry
Oh, okay.
asks us to
Yeah.
name something. As the puns fly in.
Yes.
Whenever
We'll
he
get some
needs a name.
banners. We'll get some banners. Pun alert. I'm writing it down. Banner. So we got to play in person. We squatted in the room, which was funny, just fun in itself. Like, I've seen people do their own lug drafts in here. We're just gonna beat them to it and squat the room and play D&D, and we did it, and definitely want to do it again next year. So I might make it more official. I'm not sure if I want it on the agenda, but I guess, because I won't welcome like players to the table. We don't have that much room or flexibility, but you could watch. I don't know.
If I want to sit in there and
throw your puns in real life.
Yeah, say take out the bartender, shake him down.
At least you'll know, and you could come in and say that.
Right, I just yell, shake down the bartender from outside the room.
Pun alert. Yeah, we'll have fun activity.
But anyway, people who are into D&D, something you can check out too. So, little bonus, you can see some mocks.
Yep, because I'll build the arenas or the monsters, and usually do a post after the fact because I don't know what's going to happen, and then kind of tidy it up for a little screenshot after the show. So you can look on my Instagram for a lot of inspiration from our adventures and encounters.
Yeah. I'm taking a look at Shop at Home to see if there's anything Mark and I haven't talked about. I know when Mark comes back next week, we're going to be talking more Animal Crossing, since that's pretty much the only thing in his brain now, and it might be for a while. There are a couple of cute little sets that are out right now. We talked a little bit about the Alpine Lodge, but I would imagine that at the Train Museum as well, you guys probably get into Christmas quite a bit.
Yes.
So there are a couple of cute little things here. Let me share the screen. Share screen. Look at this. I'm almost good at this now. Here we go.
Buffering.
A couple of adorable little builds here. The gingerbread ornaments, as well as the Nutcracker.
It's a good little price break if you're trying to get a free gift with purchase and you need an extra $10 in your cart.
$12, $13. Here you go. So some pretty cute little builds there. I like the Nutcracker and the gingerbread. I got them both. I like the little 2D gingerbread men. I think they're super cute. So, and everybody, of course, is responding. Yay, more Animal Crossing. That's what we're going to talk about next week. Of course we are. Team B seems like maybe he's not into it, but Monica Berry is. Mark and I did talk about this set. So what do you think about the Millennium Falcon Holiday Diorama? 282 pieces, $30. What do you think of this thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like fodder for the the sweater, the Christmas sweaters.
Yes, 100%. This is what I said too when we talked about this. I said, okay, this set is for the 2 Christmas sweaters. Nothing else is unique or interesting about it.
Because I'll get what are the advent calendars for some of those unique printed elements and have little Christmas Star Wars scene set up every year.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion. So do I need this one though? I don't know. I think I have enough.
Okay. And I think this is where Mark and I agreed heavily. This feels like a gift with purchase is what it should have been, but it's its own set. And I'm like, we're going to find this thing so heavily discounted soon.
Yeah, it's seasonal.
That doesn't really feel like a $30
Yep.
set,
Post
you know?
Christmas sale.
Ugh, but we all thought that.
Yeah.
How about the mini Disney Palace from Aladdin? Seems
Uh,
kind of like it's got some interesting pieces, but seems kind of like a weird, out of place thing to be a set right now as well. I know they're doing Disney 100. I get it.
mhm.
But what do you think?
Mm, I mean, yeah, the gold pieces are looking right at me,
Yeah.
calling to me,
Yep.
my precious.
Yeah. Well, and with
Um,
506 pieces, I can totally understand a mocker buying this. There's some interesting colors in here. It seems like a weird choice for a set. I'm not going to complain about it. I'll probably get it for the parts.
mhm.
Just seems like an interesting set choice, though.
Yeah, I
But
might earmark it if I need a 30-buck thing in my cart.
that's $40, but
Oh,
506
40.
pieces.
Mm.
So
Oh, really? That many? Hmm.
yeah, doesn't look
Um,
like it would have that many, but yeah.
how big is
All
that
right,
base plate? Well,
it's a good
can't
question.
be
Let's see here.
bigger than 16 by 16, right? Or
Yep, and I'm guessing that
not much though.
yeah, it looks like it's maybe 20 by 20 or 18 by 20.
Hmm. Yeah, pass. Other than the gold pieces, it's for the adult builders that are into Disney, and it's a thing. Desk pieces. It's a piece that I could see somebody because you can't. It's hard to get all the modulars and put them on your shelf, and then all of a sudden you got 12 modulars. These huge 1,000-piece sets, but this I think you could find the collection a little bit more affordable
Yeah.
and presentable. um,
Well, and they've done the mini Disney castle,
mhm.
but this is sort of the only other one in that series, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Mm.
And it's just kind of
Yep.
strange.
Well, they have the mini haunted house,
Oh,
haunted
okay.
mansion,
All right.
and I
Good point.
believe that was a gift with purchase.
They do have that for sale still.
Mm.
Maybe it was a gift for purchase and now it's for sale. What do you think that'd be under?
They do go back and forth
Theme
there.
Disney?
We could
Sets by theme. Does Disney have its own? It does.
let's just search for haunted. But
Well, there it is. So there's the palace. There's the big one, but here it is.
oh yeah,
The mini haunted mansion.
what's on sale?
They also have this flight over London. It's a little different than that.
Peter Pan.
Yeah. It's
It,
still got some forced perspective type
it
stuff,
has
though.
the same problem with the architecture sets that there's not a set scale for all of them to sit side by side
Yeah.
and feel like you're in Disney World.
Here's the mini castle. I've actually liked this mini castle. It's got some nice pieces in it.
Mm-hmm.
Got some nice gold pieces as well.
I have that
It's
in
kind
my
of cute.
closet of shame. I've seen some nice modified builds, like Halloween versions of that, and
Yeah.
pink version, of course. But
Yeah, so they don't have a lot, at least in this scale. Maybe it'll become a real thing, a big thing. The other interesting thing with this one, no minifigures, it seems.
nope.
The other ones have had one. So
It'd be nice if it was nano
I
scale
don't
and the
know.
trophy figs were appropriate for this mock, and they did more slight printing, on a nano.
Yeah.
That would sell.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's interesting. It's out there. Looks like I'm probably good until November or December, or January 1st, even for that matter, right now. I don't see anything
For new
too
purchases, yeah.
spectacular coming up right now, but who knows? Uh, oops. Let me just go home and go to the new again. So yeah, I mean, right now I grabbed the Alpine Lodge and the Viking set. The rest of these new guys probably not for me right now. So
No. Yeah,
Realgar asks, would it be cheaper to buy the sweaters on the aftermarket, or are they going to get horrendous markups? Well, I'm sure they won't be cheap. They'll probably be $5 a figure, but it'll be, less than the rest of the holiday set.
Yeah, it depends on what your budget is. Like, I would say it's more efficient to buy the set, because if you build
you get
other
the other
sets,
parts. Yeah.
if you are a mock builder, you'll use all the parts, and then you've got the figure for less
Right.
than you would pay from aftermarket.
Well, that assumes you're going to use the other pieces, and they're not, they're not going to just end up in your closet of shame. But that set in particular doesn't have a ton of great pieces. But one thing about the Star Wars palette is it's very neutral. So you're getting gray, dark gray, black, tan, really useful parts for people who build in sort of a regular or real palette like that quite often. So yeah, I mean, if you're a mock builder, looks like they're very useful pieces in the set.
Yeah.
But if you're only interested in the figures and you're just more of a collector, probably aftermarket. If you do mocks and you do really want them, like Jesse said, yeah, you're probably going to pay less factoring in the markup if you just buy the set and actually use the parts.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I don't think it'll be like $100 sweater. It'll be affordable in the aftermarket.
Yeah, affordable in air quotes.
As Lego gets.
Yeah, and you have to pay for the shipping on those things, and shipping has just gotten so ridiculous through the post office now.
That's probably true.
Yeah, just
buy a few custom
sending
things.
single figures can be like, if you're sending it across country, it's $4. It's $4, $5 to send something in the first class mail now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. Remember, it used to cost me like $2.50. It's not that way anymore. It's just getting crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So anyway, that's what's new on Lego Shop at Home. We've talked about all of our topics. Anything else you've got for me?
I mean, if you want to keep going on coming soon items on Lego site, if you have that
coming soon with a C.
With a C.
Yeah.
I bought the Disney 100 camera to get the spooky pirate gift with purchase.
Yes.
And I think tonight or whenever, maybe click on the offer too. They've changed the offer from that to something else.
Okay. So let me go home.
I think, or it ends tonight with double points, and something else starts tomorrow. So sometimes I just wait. You wait for a different gift with purchase to put something in my cart.
Yeah.
Not that anything. Well, sometimes they do mid-month releases.
Yeah. Right now it is in fact double points until today. Today's the last day, and then right now the gift with purchase is the Scary Pirate Island.
Mm-hmm.
So I can share my screen again on that. So there you go. So double points, Scary Pirate Island. It's a cute set. Kind of has a shark vibe. They've done lots of Skull Islands. This time they're doing a Shark Island, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
And they kind of got the Halloween black and red evil color with the bat and the skull. So kind of a slight Halloween vibe, but also a little bit of a pirate vibe.
Right.
So combo of the two. I like this raft. It is the most basic Lego raft I've ever seen Lego do. But yeah.
Well, it's a GW.
It's a gift with purchase. Yep. That's the kind of thing it's supposed to be.
So I don't know if I got double points, but I definitely got that set with one order this week, and then something will change. I don't know that you can click on what the offer is, but
it's not on here yet.
And I don't know that anything coming soon. So we're talking about leaks, the Avenger Tower, and you probably covered some of those items as they leaked. Orient Express was.
We haven't talked about that one. We did see that one, but they've announced that one, haven't they?
Yeah.
I've seen the box at least. or the lifestyle shots. That's the ones Mark and I really always enjoy. The lifestyle.
I think
shots.
there are some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's interesting. Being a train guy.
It's kind of a pale blue color on that
Yeah.
one, from what I recall.
Yeah. It's not quite the dark blue. So I think they pivoted on the Lego. It's ideas, I believe, idea set come to and changed it up quite a bit as far as the color scheme and the detailing.
Yeah, I know I saw the lifestyle shots on it. And same thing, they showed the Animal Crossing sets too now.
Oh, okay.
So that's another thing that Mark's definitely going to want to talk about. Now they're not just the figures, because we based pretty much all of our talking on just the figures and sort of the preview. Now we've actually seen the sets themselves. So that's definitely going to be something that Mark's going to want to talk about.
Yeah.
I haven't done Animal Crossing. My wife has played, but I haven't. So
you can save that talk for Mark.
Yeah, he's got a lot to say about it. So
I know nothing. I did not play it at all, and I've done my share of impulse phone games, if you will. Marvel Snap was and Marvel Strike Force definitely put some time into those phone games. And then as far as console games, Baldur's Gate is taking a big chunk of my time right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the game I was playing, I have for the most part avoided pure casual games, though they are good time killers. There was one, I was Clash of Clans many years ago or whatever, but I've been playing a fair amount of this old game, Sins of a Solar Empire. It's a strategy type game that has lots of spaceships in it. They came out with a second one. It's not out yet officially, but they had early access. And like the game's like completely playable with two of the sides. Just been wasting a ridiculous amount of time on that. So you can get sucked in, and it's like anything.
Yeah.
It ties back to your Lego hobby. If you're also into the sort of underlying property, even if you don't build that specific thing, it can give you a lot of ideas for your own stuff. Monica asks, are we eventually going to go through the whole alphabet for themes and topics? This week C, we've also done S, done a couple different letters. We did A for animals, animals, animals. We're not doing them in order. Just happens to be that a letter happens to align with many things that we're talking about a week. I don't know if we'll keep the theme going forever or not, but it is fun.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think like Sesame Street does or whatever, today is brought to you by the letter so-and-so, and it doesn't have to be in order, right?
No.
That's the way they run it anyway.
No, it's just going to be what sort of matches our mood. But we can definitely keep that going. I think it's fun. There might be some weeks where we have a special topic or a special. Gary can't wait for Q. And Monica says we did P. Yes, I remember, because one of our topics was please. So I mean, as it sort of works, Mark brings the real personality, and I come up with the segment bits for him. So it's kind of how we operate this thing.
Okay.
So yeah, he
kind of get off on the tangents quite a bit, and
trying to rein him in is half my job.
Yeah.
But sometimes we end up with 3-hour streams, because even though I try to like get him back on topic or show the show run, he's gone. He just wants to talk about what he wants to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to ask, and we've probably gone through the format, or about to hit 2 hours. Is that what you were shooting for?
Yeah, it's about where we normally go. For some of the other ideas, X, Q, and Z would be challenging. Z is for Z Cerberus. We can do that one for sure. Z is for zoo. Z is for lots of stuff. We got Z covered. X and Q though.
X-Men.
Who knows? We might be able to get through some of those. So yeah, the theme might kind of stay organically. But yeah, it's been kind of fun.
Yeah, you can pick a couple of things that just happen to be, and find some other C words like you did today.
Well, I mean, some of those things I happen to want to talk about, so it was nice that they all kind of ran together.
Yes.
Doesn't always happen, but we might keep doing it. So yeah, all right. Well,
yeah, good job.
Lots of good stuff. You can catch Jesse Friday on Friday Night Bricks. You can. I saw recently you have 5,000 subscribers now on Instagram. You post lots of stuff on there.
A milestone, yeah. If you're looking for my Lego pics, it's definitely Instagram content. Not daily, but I probably average a daily post, and try to follow back a few people if you're doing a lot of Lego photos, and that's all it is. I don't know how I got to 5,000.
Yeah.
Other than
well, I'm way behind on Instagram, but yeah, you've up to 5,000 at Jesse's Brick Galaxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which you can also find Jesse online at the searching that, and you'll see it, and you can observe how to spell Jesse here, Jesse. That's where you're gonna find his stuff. So it was great. It was great to have someone on, a new voice this week.
Wow. Yeah.
So
thanks for having me. That was fun and easy to talk to. You guys are welcome if you want to, try to join a Friday Night Bricks or so. I know Reed has his usual suspects of characters that get the invite, but friends in the chat, if we like the Monica Berries and stuff, we know like we're not gonna like just let anybody on the show, but if you want to reach out and be a guest on a certain show, I can't speak for Brick World. It seems like it's a little special substitute in for Mark here deal today. But
I've had a few guest hosts. I mean, it's something we want to try to do. Sometimes one of us isn't going to be available. You get a chemistry and sort of a format on how you like to roll things. But I've had Simon on a couple times. We're maybe going to have Philip or Maria Stratsma from Lego Masters fame. We have Nicole on sometimes from ACOB because we've done a couple special episodes on that as well. So some of these other fun special episodes, hopefully we can get a number of people on. But Mark was like, hey, I'm not going to be there. Do you want me to find a host? I'm like, hey, I've got an idea based on what I want to talk about. Let me see if Jesse's available. So it worked out well.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, let's remind everybody, as we always do. Mark and I always like to tell everybody that when you're doing mocks, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents, from our friend Bob Ross. And we like to end the show with some into the Blockleverse. Which one do we want to do today? Let's do this one. I don't think we've run this one for a couple weeks. So here we go, into the Blockleverse.
What are these strings and like battery cables? Just like, is that part of his shirt? Oh, it's part of his shirt? Wait, what is this then? Why are there just random wires? Maybe what is going on in this? I think this is from a stock photo of a father building a bomb with his son, and they photoshopped the aircraft carrier with the curved ramp in front over the bomb. Because what is going on?
Yeah, dude, I'm getting a good look at that. You're right.
There's literally a brick of dynamite right here. This is C4.
There are wires. Yeah, there are wires and things just sticking out there.
100% what's happening, and that explains the look on their faces. All of these have been like how to make a bomb stock photos.